Tip number 4, going back to the production focus. A little bit of pressure can be a good thing. I don't know that I understood this when I was young, but often ADHDers live in the gray. We kind of work and kind of get distracted most of the time. Many ADHDers also procrastinate because they get things done with a bit of pressure, right? A bit of adrenaline, and we like the ensuing deadlines. I always encourage ADHDers to try to be more black and white and less gray. In other words, schedule short amounts of work time that are realistic and really work as if that end of that work time is a concrete deadline. Turn up the pressure a little bit, but then take a concrete break, okay? So using strategies like the Pomodoro timer and other strategies can be really helpful to get that focus work time and then be able to take a break. Trying to do both often yields less than desirable outcomes. Little disclaimer here, I'm talking about microdosing pressure, okay? Some students will not do well with pressure, and real pressure is actually going to turn them off or shut them down. So small amounts of pressure can actually help ADHDers, but it's going to be case by case, like all of these strategies that I'm talking about. Finally, tip number 5, and arguably the most important, is having your student understand the 3 phases of the learning process. Have them focus and identify on the intake phase, the processing phase, and the output phase. Odds are, people with negative self-talk often think that they're stupid, or they're bad students, or they're slow. In reality, they're probably doing quite well in one of the 3 phases, and perhaps struggling in one of the 3 phases. So I always like to bring students' attention to the fact that they may be doing really well during a lecture, but then they're struggling to write. Or they may be doing really well when they're given time to listen to a podcast, and they actually would like to make a podcast themselves to show that they understand the content their teacher's asking. So get them to understand how they intake information best, how they process information best, and then how they express their learning the best, and figure out ways, again, going back to that advocacy goal, how can they then tell their teachers and tell others in their life that they want to do the work, they're willing to do the work, and they would prefer to do the work in the ways that align with their strengths. Again, these are things that I have struggled with my whole entire life and continue to do so even today. As a executive function coach, I am constantly struggling with my own executive function, and I have a tremendous amount of areas in which there's a lot of room for improvement. But the fact of the matter is, I'm aware of that, and I also am aware and constantly taking inventory of my strengths, and I'm looking at every day as a new day to improve, develop, and grow. And I put my arm around my ADHD, and I put my arm around my anxiety, and I walk forward. So I hope this resource has been helpful for you, for your students, and I'd like to encourage you to please head on over to youngscholarsacademy.org and check out some of our other resources there, and also take a look at our courses. If you have ADHD learners, or you're an ADHD learner yourself, our programming is designed to engage via virtual learning. I know that sounds like an oxymoron. Engage ADHD and neurodiverse learners and help them feel at home, understood, and safe. Thank you very much, and keep thriving.